this week on the Honey Break Experience.
Blow at them and they come right in here. That's what it's all about. It's the first day after the split. It's 30 degrees outside. It's not much wind. We're going to a pit blind and honey break. Y'all stay tuned. We're going to get after it. Single mallard right up front. Kill him, kill him, kill him.
Good shoot, right? That's pretty.
Here, you got another one. Back.
That's how it's done.
You got all that?
Man.
That's what it's all about.
Yes, sir.
Opening weekend of the second split, we had Mr. John Inquis' group in. I had his son and a couple other men. Come on in here, Mr. Canvas, back and shoot you. Watch this can right here in the front. We'll shoot that can. Coming back around the left end. Kill him, kill him. Dave! Big old bull can.
He is that. Well, they're pretty on that blue sky.
Come by a while ago. And I was walking back. Seen him come back by again. I saw he finna come in here. You give him that little grunt call and they'll generally come right in. You know, I hunted with Ryan Inquis this trip, and the trip previous to that, the last weekend of our first split, I hunted with him and his dad. That was a treat. They're true duck hunters. They're passionate about what we do out here. Kill him, kill him. Hey. It's enjoyable to take a father and a son, even though they're both older than I am. It's still fun to watch and see, because me and my dad are like that, and we're like that a lot whenever we hunted together. That's a big one too there. We're right here on my corner, Spoonbill. Watch this pintail right here on my corner though. All right. Dave!
Is that why you didn't shoot again?
No, one hand.
Oh yeah, no.
Two pretty pintail drakes. They finally getting some sprigs on them.
Yeah.
First part of the split, they didn't have sprigs on. They got their colors finally. They're starting to grow some sprigs on them. A couple of fine honey break pintails.
The Honey Break Experience is brought to you by Banded, innovations in hunting and outdoor gear. Mojo, if it ain't magic, it ain't mojo. This is the Honey Break Experience.
Our expectations for the opening day was out of this world because I'd been out there the afternoon before and it was just ducks everywhere, mallards everywhere. I shoot the mallards too.
I prefer the mallards.
Okay, I prefer to shoot them myself, but great. We got in the blind Saturday morning and I told Ryan and them, so why don't we just wait a little while, see if we can kill some big ducks. Oh, watch that finger right there. I'll get ready. Pintail, kill him. Hey. The pintail. We would have had a full strap of big ducks, but Todd was chomping at the bits wanting to shoot teal. Well, maybe put the shot collar off the dog on you. They keep doing that, we might have to shoot one. So we passed on teal and spoonbills and a little bit of this and a little bit of that most of the morning. Not this big bunch teal right here. They get in here with you. They gotta get right though. And let them get in the hole. So I finally let him shoot some. Watch right out front, we'll shoot these. Y'all get them.
You hear his excuse? He likes to eat teal. He don't eat duck.
Todd got to shoot him some teal. I know he's been chomping at the bits over there. Now it's coming back around. Watch that mallard in the front right here. Mark. Hey! And my dog Daisy, she'll be 6. In that shallow water over there by that pit, they just don't get away from her. It doesn't matter if they're 40 yards in a live or 250 yards in a live. She'll run them down. They just don't get away. Good girl. Hold. Girl. The pit that we're hunting has turned on really good in the last 2 years. We put that pit there 2 years ago. There's a standing blind kind of off to the east of it that the ducks just won't get around. So we put a pit blind about 150, 200 yards in front of it. And this year, consistently, it's probably been the best blind we've had since the season opened. And it's the blind that I try to go to every chance I get. It's a good spot. 2 more on my front corner following me. When they show up, they all show up at one time. Here he comes. Kill him, kill him. Dave. That's a wrap, brother.
Another kamikaze.
You better get him, bro. And we killed a full limit of big ducks and 3 teal the first day. That's a big old mallard there, babe.
Great hunt, Richard.
Thank you. Was a good hunt. That's the best one so far this year.
That was awesome.
Great hunt. It's a good spot. I killed a lot of ducks out there, a lot of big ducks too.
The Honey Break Experience is brought to you by Honey Break Lodge and Outfitters, the experience of a lifetime. Gator Tail, taking you places you never thought possible. This is the Honey Break Experience.
tried to get me to fix it, I wouldn't do it.
Richard's a better friend than you too.
Yeah, you keep him. Y'all supposed to be
Too soon.
We ain't gonna be Team Red. Yeah, y'all leave it.
We should be.
Look at here.
Is it close?
Look at here.
Cutting it close. Big kid.
Oh, you want to go through that last step for
All the way to the end. All the way to the end. We went into the second day with the expectations of the first day. Waiting on mallards, waiting on pintails, waiting on grays. Just keep him right there by you. If you see him easing that gun up, you just knock him down.
Last night.
You just knock him down.
He's like, there were thousands of them that we just let light the decoys. Huh?
We were trying to kill big ducks yesterday. What you feel for when it's mallards and pintails?
I don't know. Can't help everybody, can you?
Can't. Well, I told Cody, so we're gonna do just like we did yesterday. Mallards and pintails ain't flying, we'll shoot some teal later on. We're gonna be patient again today.
I'm with you.
Right here on my end. Kill him. Dave!
What is it?
Yeah, well.
Big duck. As long as it's big duck. We had one yesterday. Got to have at least one today. Look there. That ringneck gonna come up in the blind with us. We get about 15 mallards to do that. If y'all remember last year, our water was real low. We pumped for 80-something days trying to get water huntable, and we didn't get water until after Christmas. Well, this year, we didn't even get, we never got rid of the water we had from the prior year. We still had water all summer long, and now we have too much water. There's a Todd duck. Some of our better blinds, the water's too deep. Those blinds just aren't producing and killing ducks like they normally do. And that's why those little pits that I'm hunting are doing so well. They're in the corners in the shallow water where the ducks want to be. Shot. David.
Honey Break Gun Dog Tip, brought to you by Avery, first and forever.
You know, Jerry, when you're getting started training your dog, there's a lot of tools you need. We've got a few here. Let's kind of go over them for our viewers and tell them what all they need to get started.
Yeah, well, as you said, Richard, there's a lot of tools you can purchase, but just say starting out from the beginning, just a few tools that you may want to purchase as your dog's a puppy that you're going to need in the future, and one is a whistle. And not all whistles are created equal. You want to find a good whistle that's a good loud whistle. You want to decide if you want to use a P-less whistle. And if you're going to take your dog to a professional trainer, you want to make sure and tell the trainer, if you did do some basics, what whistle you was using. And if he changes, you want to use the same whistle that he's using. I believe you're going to have at least a half a dozen. I'd recommend you get a dozen black and white 2-inch bumpers, flashers. Then I'd say you get half a dozen to a dozen orange 2-inch bumpers. And if you want to, get your black bumpers. You know, you may in the future need a healing stick. There's a very valuable tool right here. You can start off with them as a puppy. A lead, very important tool.
A check cord here, 30-foot check cord. After your dog's used to wearing a basic leash, you can go to a 30-foot check cord for healing and teaching your dog to hear. Kind of like this rough stand Hank's sitting on here. This can double as, you know, a training tool at home in the field, and you also use it for hunting.
Your basic vest. When the conditions get bad, I recommend you run a vest on them for the flotation of it. You know, it keeps heat in, it protects against hitting stumps or running through barbed wire. It's a lot of good things about this vest. But just don't go out there opening day and think you're gonna put that vest on that dog and it's gonna love it, because it's probably gonna hit the ground and wanna roll around, and let it get used to the vest. Put it on weeks before season or months before season. You gotta introduce all these things. There's many tools. As your dog advances, there's a lot more tools you'll wanna get, but this is just your basic tools. And that is your Honey Break Gun Dog Tip of the Week. Please submit your training questions to our partners at Avery.com. And if we select your question on TV or our website, we'll send you a Banded Avery care package.
For more gun dog tips, head on over to honeybreak.com or find us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
The Honey Break Experience is brought to you by War Eagle, built for hunters who love to fish. Mossy Oak, it's not a passion, it's an obsession. This is the Honey Break Experience.
We went into the second day with the expectations of the first day, waiting on mallards, waiting on pintails, waiting on grays, and they just never came like we wanted them to. We're still going to go all the way out front, turning back to the right. Here they come. The one on the left. Oh, see the other one, the spoonbill. Dang! When I said the one on the left, they crossed. Yeah, they crossed. When I said shoot the one on the left, they did that.
Looks like the pintails are going to act a little different than they did yesterday, huh?
Left side. Make rain. You can make rain. Mark. About 9 o'clock, I told Ryan and the other guys, I said, look, we got to shoot everything that comes in here, because if I don't leave this blind with a limit, they'll never let me hear the end of it. Trophy spoonbills. They're really not that ugly. I mean,
Hollywood.
they are. If you
Shave
look,
their bill, they're beat
hold
down
on.
a little. Put a
They're really
sight
not that
line on
ugly.
it.
You can't see the bill. No, not up here they don't. It's just a teal up here. They're in a teal family. Spoonbill is. Yeah. Up here they don't taste bad. They're eating the same thing these mallards and pintails and teal are eating. It's when they get down on the coast when they start eating all that funky stuff, start tasting funny. Look, coming in on my side.
Yeah.
So we had to start shooting a few teal and shooting a few shovelers, something we don't mind doing, but if we don't have to do it, we won't do it. We'd rather shoot big ducks. Kill him. There we go. Dave! But I ain't leaving this blind without a limit of ducks. I'll never hear the end of it. The pit, last year we couldn't hunt it much because it had a hole in it. Nobody was willing to go in there and patch the hole in it. I went in there and packed it up thigh high in gumbo mud to keep it from leaking too bad where you were able to hunt in it. And the last 3 weeks of the season last year, we killed, I'd say roughly 200, 300 ducks in it in just the last 3 weeks. And it's the blind that I try to go to every chance I get. It's a good spot. You know, we're fighting high water right now. The water's coming up. It hadn't been this high since 2011. Over the summer, we fought with the water, trying to maintain roads and everything else, and the water's back up where it was 4 months ago. You know, we got guys running around putting heavy rocks on things, trying to keep them from floating off. We fixed to have to start picking up stuff in the lodge to keep it from getting ruined. The pit blinds that we're hunting, we're having to go around and add length to the walls to keep them from going under to make it to where we can still hunt those. The high water's never good for ducks. It spreads them out. And we hadn't had the weather this year to push the ducks we need down here to begin with. So killing them blue wings to tell you how late the migration is. You're killing blue wings around Christmas time, ducks ain't no ducks here yet. They ain't moving. And we had a great 2 days. In 2 days, we killed 48 ducks. And out of them 48 ducks, I think we had 17 or 18 mallards. I know Ryan and them had a good time. I had a good time, I know. It was just a great 2 days.
Closed captioning provided by Avery, First and Forever. Coming up next week.
Kill him, kill him.